tried to do it in 2012. I wasn't a part of the 2012. You want clear guidelines, well, you've got clear guidelines. There's nothing gray about it. You grow outdoors, it's illegal. You're limited to 100 square feet indoor grows, 12 plants. Now, I'm telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, so that's why I'm getting the pushback. But that's it, folks. This board, basically it's 4-1. It's a 4-1 board right now. And this was our intention, is that we wanted to preserve the quality of life, and you hear that term thrown around, all the time. It means different things to different people. But this is what we decided, and that's why we're letting the people decide in Nevada County what they want their community to look like.
Jonathan?
Christopher, could you please come to your comments here? I mean, you just expressed here earlier, and I heard these comments. Please control the comments when these guest speakers are talking, please.
I would second that, please. I mean, we are trying to have a friendly conversation. Information is valuable. So a lot of respect. That is one of the things that we're trying to build is respect community. So let's find that. So it is a question. Things are constantly changing. One of the things that has been brought up is the perception that young families don't want to live up to. When looking at a Pew report on millennials, you'll see that there's 68% in favor of cannabis in favor of marijuana. 63% of those being Republicans. So as we move forward, isn't that part of an evolving political process? Do we want to keep up to date, or do we want to fix ourselves into things that are outdated or may not apply? Only recently has the research started coming out. A lot of that research into the medical benefits is very interesting. So as we learn more about this, what do we want to address? So from our perspective, we don't necessarily agree with cementing this in. The ban itself, as imposed by the supervisors, does what it does. It does exactly what it needs to do. So why do we need to have a second ban on top of that?
Building official in Nevada County. And I asked Craig, okay, you got these regulations. Does a greenhouse need a cement floor? And he said, no, what I would prefer is it be gravel or sand, but the structure has to meet building standards, and it has to be anchored. If you're growing indoors, it's 100 square feet. So what are you? It's a 10 by 10 structure. 100 square feet. Indoor grow. 12 plants, I'm sorry. That was the one thing in 2012 that I would have changed. I wouldn't have had the square footage. I would have done plant count per parcel, which would have made a lot more sense to me rather than the square footage. The square footage is still screwing me up. So you're limited to 12 plants indoors. So is there some government program to help you build a greenhouse for growing marijuana? No. And I don't think Department of Social Services, I don't think there's any government agency that's going to assist someone to grow a greenhouse to grow cannabis. And so, no, the answer is no there.
So, kind of the same question, Jonathan. Do you see a role for government to play in assisting folks who may not otherwise be able to afford to create the structures to grow medical marijuana indoors, to have a program to help them?
I think we got the answer. So there isn't, and there probably won't be, which is why again we feel that this is not the right direction to go. We're also concerned with those who have no ability to even have a chance to build those structures. Those who live in highly dense neighborhoods, apartments. So there is not even a choice of that. So they're going to limit the amount of those that can provide for themselves, and they have to provide for themselves. And medicine rent come from those who live in apartments, that live in St. Wildwood, that live in these high density areas. So those will be additional concerns.
I don't think we're moving into residential neighborhoods, we're just excluding residential neighborhoods, as far as where cultivation can occur. Supervisor Weston wanted, a restriction in R1 and R2, residential neighborhoods. Typically, your complaints are gonna come in residential from outdoor grows. And so we feel that if you're growing outdoors in a residential neighborhood, the complaints are gonna arise, and the enforcement, the abatement will occur. But no, it's not our intention to move them into residential neighborhoods. Donovan, you wanna respond to that?
Yeah, so basically how we envision the future for that is basically treating businesses as businesses. So land use is something that businesses have to follow by. So we actually don't imagine seeing commercial businesses in residential areas because you don't see commercial businesses in residential areas. So you won't see chicken farms, you won't see hog farms, you won't even see horses. They don't belong in residential. As we move towards regulation and treating these as businesses, we would imagine that as like businesses, they would actually.
They're doing is, they're partnering up with Grass Valley, Nevada, and Nevada City on the west side of the county here to handle law enforcement, problems. They're not gonna, the illegal grows aren't gonna go away overnight, folks. It's gonna take, 1, 2, maybe 3 years, but sooner or later, we're gonna get to a level where the people that Jonathan supports, and really for people that are here, there's gonna be a common ground where law enforcement is probably just gonna concentrate on what's causing the problems and get to the root of the problem, get to the root of it. The sheriff has 14 unfilled positions in his department right now that he can't fill. So, as far as enforcement, I mean, law enforcement's tough, and we can only do it with the number of officers he has. To regulate, we're not trying to regulate commercial regulation. That's not what we want. We don't want Nevada County growing for San Francisco. We don't want Nevada County growing for San Jose or the Bay Area. If medical marijuana, this is the issue that Measure W is looking at. It's not open commercial cultivation. And so for that statement to be made contradicts everything that Measure W is trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid that reputation. And it's all about money. It comes down, it's all about money. And that theme just gets spoken time and time again. It's all about money. And so that's why the 12 plant limit indoor that we put in place. We want people to have access to it. It's not our responsibility to provide the environment. It's not our responsibility to create dispensaries, but it's our responsibility for the safety and health of our community. Who would like cultivation is, we agree that it shouldn't be in R1, R2, or R3 residential areas. So are we committed to a pathway to provide for? Well, we'll provide guidelines with the input from stakeholders in the county here. But there's going to be some rules and regulations again, and whether they're going to be followed or not, we're going to have to see if Measure W fails. Do I think W is going to fail? I don't know. I mean, I would say that probably 95% of the people in this room have already made up their mind one way or another how they're going to vote. Matter of fact, who has not made up their mind how they're going to vote? Maybe 100%, maybe 99%. But so is there a pathway to meet the medical needs? Well, I'm not a pharmacologist and I'm not a doctor. I don't know how much a person needs in order to say that their need is met. You know, that's gonna be for a medical professional, it's gonna be for a pharmacologist, to develop a tincture. Is there a pathway? If Measure W fails, yeah, if Measure W does not fail, 12 plants indoors, that's your limit. And then, hopefully, for the people who need it, there's gonna be an outlet close by rather than having to go to Sacramento.
Difficult. It's gonna be very difficult, so if W fails, this isn't going away. It's here. There's a lot of families, there's a lot of people that have bills to pay, mortgages, so getting up and leaving is not really an option. Kids aren't going to school. So there are a lot of good actors. So it's going to be something that we continue to fight for. So it may be that W fails, but we will continue to build relationships. We'll continue to outline a path that is responsible. At some point, again, this will come up. So whether that's another ballot initiative as a special election or we wait 2 years for the next election, there'll be more encouragement, there'll be more guidelines, there'll be more information to make better decisions. So we'll continue to move forward. Hopefully, again, Grass Valley, the cities will actually pave the way so that there is at least some relief for some people. But till then, we're going to see a legal road, and we're going to see people need to go down to Sacramento. I'd like to see responsible growth. I'd like to see good business. I'd like to see people getting money.